We are live. Friends, welcome to Inside Russia. One interesting thing about my channel is that I don't almost ever get to see hate comments in the live streams and in the videos, after live streams are over. There's censorship. It's not because I don't like criticism towards myself, but for two simple reasons. First, personal dangers, and second, Russian trolls. First, for about 7 months, I was located inside Russia, and every single day I went live and gave you the truth on what was happening in the country. I was naming black what was black, and I was naming white what was white. And let me remind you, inside Russia, in March 2022, mere days after the start of Russian invasion and attacking of Ukraine, legislation was changed and created that destroyed the remnants of freedom of speech, whatever had been left of it. People started getting arrested. They started getting real prison terms for speaking up the truth or merely showing their attitude toward the whole tragedy. They got prison terms for naming war with Ukraine war. They got prison terms for making posts on social media accounts, for simply getting on the streets with white pieces of paper, for hearting messages, liking messages of the others. Yeah, I kid you not, the real prison terms. So, I spoke in read between the line language a lot and asked people not to discuss certain topics in my live streams. The idea was this. These are the boundaries that I find I am safe within the boundaries. Please do not cross the boundaries because you endanger me. Discussing those things could easily land me to prison. Big trouble. And that was the first reason. And the second reason, there had been myriads of Russian trolls. Every time I said something that went against party line, I told the truth. Myriads of trolls would fly onto the live streams like flies to honey. So the moderators of Inside Russia, the best moderators in the world, hands down, there's no question about that. They watched very closely of what was happening in the live stream chats and in the comments after the streams were over. When I was in Russia, I used to say something like, Fox, please don't say this and that, and don't forget that my moderators are running digital gulag, so I don't go to a real one. Some of you who have watched me for a long time, you still remember that line. I think asking people not to discuss certain things was justified. It basically saved my freedom while I was in Russia. And after escaping Russia, we have eased the censorship, so to speak. And now the moderators maintain order. There's, making sure people write in English, making sure there's no full language, no insults, things like that. So it's normal stuff. We also ban people who start fighting about American politics and religion. Those are the topics that I want everyone to not discuss. Once people start discussing, there's always fight about them because everyone thinks different. And this is Inside Russia, channel about what's happening inside Russia after all. So now, there's no digital gulag and anyone can discuss pretty much anything here in Russia, Russia connected. But this is still Inside Russia channel, On top of that, the community of Inside Russia, you are is absolutely fantastic. You are absolutely great. There's very little hate on this channel. There's much of respect. There's a good time. People conversing, joking, making friends, making jokes. I really like coming here every single evening for me and, afternoon for you. So I don't see hate comments here ever. And an interesting thing happened a couple of days ago. I was interviewed by a large channel, and the video was released and generated lots of views, and more than 1,000 people commented. Among comments, there were quite a few hateful ones. I read them with interest. It's sort of feedback for me, although not very pleasant, but feedback. I never comment anything hateful, and some people might think that I am afraid to discuss, these things, and I try to avoid them. And that's not true. And I've decided that I need to dedicate an entire stream to address some unpleasant things aimed at me and explain some of them. And I also figured me addressing and commenting the hate messages would make you understand me, Constantine, better, and what I stand for, and my channel, what is all my channel all about. So you will understand my cause better. And after I'm done, I turn on the messages, invite you to participate in the live stream chat, and you can ask me all kinds of questions, anything concerning what you are about to hear, concerning my life, just about anything. Personal questions, and I will try to answer them all. And howdy, friends. Again, my name is Konstantin, and welcome to Inside Russia. I give you interesting news updates every day here. I find them important, and I find they explain what truly is happening in Russia. What you will not find here is propaganda, BS, or lies. What you will find is truth, common sense, and logic. And emotions, because I'm a human being, and today is a little more emotions than usual, I guess. Inside Russia is where usual Russia is explained by the unusual Russian. What I'll do now is I will read a comment, a hateful or a pleasant comment, and I'll try to comment it, no pun intended, or to answer it. I have collected comments that I liked from Silicon Curtain and few other videos. I did not rehearse any answers. I just wrote down the comments, and I will answer and discuss and explain them live, so to speak. So let's jump into the comments. There are large portions. I figured, I would put few comments into one block. And I was really surprised to learn, folks, that I am considered pro-Russian by quite a few people. Yes, pro-Russian. After what I have done every day, after what the topics I discuss, the pictures I post, community posts I make, I am considered pro-Russian. So without further ado, let's jump into the first comment. I watched one of his streams the other day, having not seen anything from him, that's me, in many months, and it was very apparent that he wasn't tiptoeing around the issues in the same way as he used to. He's still careful in his language, but not to the point of read between the lines, neutrality, and he felt forced to maintain. Making decisions to more overly speak against the Russian state must be very difficult for him. Well, it's partially true. I became much more liberated after I left Russia and settled in Uzbekistan, and I do not speak in read between the lines language anymore. I say directly. I say directly, I like it very much. Read between the lines was a necessity. I was forced to do that. But one thing kind of struck me, making the decision to more overly speak against the Russian state must be very difficult for him. You know what? It's very difficult for me to speak of, not to speak of against the Russian state. My position is so black and white. It's actually, I don't know, you have to be absolutely blind not to notice it. But I do not support the current regime. I do not support current president. I stand against them. I want this to change. I want Russia to change. I think Russia only way has future is without these people in power, without this system that they have built. It's called the vertical of power. The only future, decent future Russia has is new people come and they build a new state, democratic one, based on democratic principles and good values, plain and simple. So that is not very difficult for me to speak against the Russian state. That's basically something that I speak against every single day. Moving on. At that point in early October, he was still in Russia and clearly struggling with what he believed. He would always caution his commenters not to speak against Putin, the Putin regime. Folks, I mean, a lot of you, I see quite a few people right now, about, over 1900. Most of you, many of you, you keep on coming back every single day. Now, you tell me, do you remember one instance? I want you to comment in the live stream chat. Do you remember one single instance that I cautioned you, my commenters, to not speak against the Putin regime? Just give me one single instance. Moving on. Yes, he is truly adept at soft propaganda. He seems to have been very successful, given the number of glowing comments about him. So that makes you the brainwashed, I guess, because I give you soft propaganda and you fall for it and you comment here. You make glowing comments. Well, this was taken from a Silicon Curtain because there were over 1,000 comments right now, and at that point, now even more. And then there were like 20 to 40 rotten ones, the hateful ones. Okay, so most were definitely glowing. I mean, 98% people liked it, liked what I had to say. Now, you see how crazy some people are? They think that what I say is soft propaganda. When I say that Russian economy is going down, I give the facts, numbers, and figures. They think it's soft propaganda. So they think that I'm just trying to make a logical connection here. So if I say Russian economy is going down, they think it's soft propaganda. So what's in reality? They believe that Russian economy is doing well. And that's the Westerners speaking or writing. Then yesterday I made a stream. I showed you how Russian state is built, from the inside out. And that's not a pretty picture. No one wants to live in a state like that, in a country like that, with a system like that. That's soft propaganda. Holy moly. Moving on. That's a good one. I liked it very much. I think you nailed it. That was another bad comment, and it was a follow-up. I think you nailed it. He seems to be a typical Russian, very self-interested. Woohoo! I have organized community of more than 500 people, both Russians and Ukrainians here in Tashkent. That's a support group. That's it's more than a support group. That's a political group. I basically evacuated at least one Russian from Russia, and now he's living in Texas. I went a great deal out of my way to do that. I feed people here in Tashkent on a daily basis. I'm helping Ukrainians. I have helped Ukrainians before, and I'm helping right now. There's a Ukrainian family, mother and two children stuck here. They want to go back to Ukraine. And guess what? They're flying on me. Their tickets, I'm buying them. I've been helping Russians here. I've been helping Ukrainians here. I have helped people who escaped Russia on numerous bases. That's just the start. That's what I do, okay? You see, I find my salvation these days in helping others. I feel guilty for what Russia is doing. I feel it's partially my fault, and I need to do something to fix it, okay? And I find my salvation in helping. Helping others helps me, makes me feel better. You can call me fat, you can call me ugly, you can call me ungroomed, I don't know. You can call me lazy, you can call me Russian, whatever, but you cannot call me self-centered because this is just crazy. Moving on. That's a great comment. If you shook hands with him, you would count your fingers afterwards. That's a very funny comment to me. It's coming from a person who does know me personally, who has never met me, and yet person making such a judgment, not knowing me, okay? I'll address it this way. Whoever made this comment, you first come to Tashkent and meet the group of people that I hang out here with. When I first came to Tashkent 8 months ago, I didn't know anyone or anything. So I have organized Tashkent Breakfast Club. I have invited over 500 people to Tashkent Breakfast Club, both Ukrainians and Russians. So before making a comment like that, you come to Tashkent and talk to people, all 500 of them who know me personally, who shake hand with me on a regular basis, daily up to about 50 people, and weekly a few hundred people shake my hand. And you ask them if they count their fingers afterwards. Or perhaps they're happy and they seek opportunity to shake my hand. Only after you come to Tashkent and speak to real people, you make such a statement and you post it on YouTube. How about that? Another thing I noticed, a very interesting thing, many comments are coming from few members of YouTube. They say often, and they used to be members of Inside Russia, but they got banned a long time ago. Some of them I still remember. They say, oh, I don't follow this guy. But they follow every single video anywhere on other channels that I show up, an interview or a link to me. They start commenting and they start spilling out hate. Okay, and then yet at the same time they say, well, we don't follow Konstantin, we're not interested. They are very interested. And that's interesting. Okay, that makes you think. At the end of the live stream, I'll tell you what I think about it. So moving on, there's another comment. I remember in one video, he even claimed Turkish Delight candy was really invented in Russia. You see, lots of commenters who post hate, they don't say Russia. They write Russia, Ruzzia. I personally never use this. I don't like it. But for the sake of being objective in the stream, that's what they write and that's what I read. So Turkish Delight candy was really invented in Russia, and Turkey stole it from them. Folks, I never said that. This is simply crazy. This is insane. This is why people say that. They could invent like a sophisticated lie. Instead, they just invent a crazy lie. There was an incredible amount of hate and unpleasant comments about Kerch Bridge and Crimea. This is an amazing topic, and I've been given so much hate over the months about this. Before I jump into the comments, first things first, I would like to clarify my position on Crimea, who Crimea belongs to, and Kerch Bridge bombing. Crimea is a part of Ukraine, plain and simple. It has been annexed by Russia. From the point of view of Russian government and Russian legislation, it is Russian since 2014, but this is plain and simple wrong. De facto, Crimea is controlled by Russia now, right now, meaning, and listen to me very carefully. Don't misquote me after. Um, Crimea is controlled by Russia. It is not controlled by Ukraine since 2014, meaning there's Russian police force in Crimea. There are Russian laws that are working. There are Russian courts. There's Russian army controlling the territory. Everything there is Russian. There is nothing Ukrainian in Crimea right now, except for quite a few Ukrainians with dual citizenships living there, and Crimea itself. So there's nothing Ukrainian in Crimea but Crimea itself. So Crimea is Ukrainian. But everything what is happening right now, it's controlled by Russia. One day it will be returned to Ukraine, and this is what I believe. This is my stand on who Crimea belongs to. I've been misunderstood many times, and as a result, tons of people start writing hateful comments on that. Now let's jump into some of the comments. I used to watch Konstantin daily, and I was a subscriber until the Kerch Bridge incident, the Crimea Bridge, as it's called in Russia. He wasn't happy about Ukrainians doing harm to it, and he was not addressing it. He forbid anyone asking about it. He was not going to answer questions pertaining the Kerch Bridge. He was pissed about it and had to remove the video. Why did he do that? People noticed his fake concerns for Ukraine. I am not saying one should not love her country, but crocodile tears. That is a very, well, first of all, it's long, and there are two topics there. Let's address the first one. The Crimea Bridge incident bombing stream. I woke up one day and I saw Crimean Bridge on fire. Before even Russian news, I remember I watched, it's like one of the first pictures came out, and I said, oh. So I made a live stream, and live I was giving news and comments, and the news were coming in. First they didn't know what happened, and there was one version, another version, and the live stream lasted for a few hours. I definitely was upset, and I definitely did deleted the live stream after. For one simple reason. I was upset about what was to follow the bombings. I was very afraid that Russia would do something crazy, okay? And I figured this would be such a huge escalation of the war with Ukraine, and this was what I was concerned and afraid about. People ask me in the stream who Crimea belongs to, and I said currently Russia, and this is exactly what I meant, that Russia was controlling Crimea at the moment. People misunderstood me, and they started bashing me for saying it belongs to Ukraine, and I made it myself clear. It does belong to Ukraine, it's been annexed, but currently all the cars from one side to another side on the bridge, they go from Russia to Russia, okay? According to Russian legislation. It doesn't mean that I say it belongs to, by international law, it belongs to Russia. No, it belongs to Ukraine. But currently it's controlled by Russia. And there was lots of misunderstanding about that, and I simply turned the live stream off. I deleted it afterwards. So then there you have it. This is what happened. And then this person also claims I have people noticed his fake concerns for Ukraine. Well, that's really strange. My fake concerns for Ukraine. Whoever watches my streams every day, well, you see my concerns for Ukraine. You see my attitude to what Russia is doing to Ukraine. Is it fake? Well, it's not fake, but you decide for yourself. Camera does not really lie. So, plain and simple. I don't know what else to say. Moving on to the next comment. Now let me. He called it an act of terrorism against his beloved Russia. How can I call an act of terrorism something that Ukrainians are doing because this is a war? I mean, I don't even know how to address this comment. Every action, and this is one of the laws I live by my life. Every action has a reaction. You do something, you get something, some kind of a result. You know, it works in all areas of life, and it works if you attack one country. Expect that the country will start attacking you. What kind of terrorism are we talking about? I don't think that's terrorism. Moving on. I think he may have repented of that comment as the video was taken down shortly afterwards. Well, you know, I explained why I took down the video. Just too much. It was like a storm. And mostly because my words were misunderstood and taken out of context. Another comment, moving on. I stopped watching this guy after his reaction to Ukraine striking the Crimean bridge. Unsubbed him too? Well, again, my reaction was I was pretty scared. I was afraid, and I thought it's not good because what about to follow for Ukraine would be terrible. It turns out that my fears were not unjustified, because what happens, if you remember what happened shortly after Crimean Bridge, is the Russians started bombarding Ukraine with missiles, long-range missiles, and they started like raining firestorm on Ukraine. Okay, so that's what it is. Used to watch him, then heard him say Crimea is Russia again. My words taken out of context. Haven't listened to a minute of him since then. Hope he's changed his view since then in a sincere way. Why hasn't changed it? My view of Crimea changed in a way. I feel guilty and sorry that I didn't do much when Crimea actually was annexed in 2014. That I have thought over much, and if I were given a chance to do something, I would have done things differently back then in 2014. But, I mean, I don't know. I haven't changed my views recently on anything. Moving on. He deleted the video saying that because Super Chats suffered, then mass banned everyone who called him out for it. He thinks not only Crimea is Russia, but all of the Ukraine. So this is absolutely crazy. I deleted the video for the reasons I already just explained you. I didn't really care about the Super Chats in that video, and you know, how can super chats hurt or something once the live stream is over? So that's technically not possible. So the guy is not right. Mass banned everyone who called him out for it. Not really. There was banning. I wouldn't say mass banning, but there was banning of a few people. They were just being not nice. You know, they were insulting. They were calling names, and they were furious. They were given warning, and then they were banned. And then the second part of this comment is absolutely fantastically crazy. He thinks not only Crimea is Russia, but all over Ukraine. Ah, you know, this is insane. I don't know how many times I made points that I think that I stand on it. This is the foundation of my belief. Ukraine is a sovereign country. Ukrainians have a right to do anything they want to inside their own country. They can choose to speak any language they want to: Russian, Ukrainian, Martian, English. They can choose any ideology. They can choose any politicians. They can build a system based on corruption, or they can build a system based on democracy. They can have a revolution in their country. It's their business. They're a sovereign country, and none of the neighbors or whoever is allowed to interfere. This is my this is what I stand on, and I think that's valid for all the countries, not just Ukraine. Um, Ukraine is Russia. I'm, this is the first time I hear someone says that, writes about that, and I don't even know what to comment on that. This is crazy, crazy, crazy. I've been to Ukraine. I lived in Ukraine for a year. I didn't see Russia there. I did not see Russians there. I saw Ukrainians who spoke Russian, who had Russian culture, who were not much different from me, but they were Ukrainians. Okay? And I have not ever thought otherwise. Moving on. That's a good one. He is very angry because, he has a good life and he lost it. I read as person wrote it. There are grammar mistakes, but hey, it wasn't me writing it. He came back to make money under Putin. I think he meant he left the USA for Russia. Ukraine is irrelevant for him. First of all, I came back to Russia because I missed my country and I missed my family. Kind of strange to come to Russia back in 2004 to make money, right? From the USA. You can make lots of money in the USA, make no mistake about that. So, it's crazy. I did not come back to Russia for money, and I made a video. Go ahead and watch it. I explain in details why I returned to Russia. Money was one of the smaller factors, but the biggest ones were I was homesick and I missed my mom and dad. And number two, the person says Ukraine is irrelevant to him. Ukraine is irrelevant to me. My mom is half Ukrainian. Her maiden name is 100% Ukrainian. Rostov, where I was born and grew up, is on the border with Ukraine. If you take a pebble and throw it real hard, it'll land in Ukraine. So our accent in Rostov is Ukrainian. Our culture is mix Russian and Ukrainian. Our food is mix of Russian and Ukrainian. I worked for 20 years for an international holding with headquarters in Ukraine, and all shareholders were from Ukraine. My two best friends are from Ukraine, one from Odessa and another one is from Donetsk. About a year of my life I lived in Ukraine, between Odessa, Kiev, Kharkov, and Zaporizhia. Now, for the past 15 years, I have bled for Ukraine. If you go on my Instagram or Facebook, you will see posts there from, just go and check it out. There are many posts from Ukrainians, from people I personally know, that are part of my life. I talk to them daily, and Ukraine has my complete backing. I stand for Ukraine here on this channel, and this person says Ukraine is irrelevant to him. Hey, buddy, if Ukraine was irrelevant to me, I'd never leave Russia. I had a nice life in Russia, you know. If I was okay with what Russia doing with Ukraine, I would simply ignore and stayed there, and that's it. You know, and I would continue doing my thing. There are plenty of YouTubers who do that. Moving on. Konstantin is more emotional on how bad the war is for Russians than how bad the war is for Ukraine. He has basically both feet in Russia only and doesn't care much about Ukraine, but yes, he agrees Russia shouldn't have attacked Ukraine. Well, thanks for that at least. But that's common sense. You get no credit for realizing that, even if you're Russian. I think you get lots of credit because 70% of Russians, they don't realize that. So I think if you simply realize that, you get lots of credit these days. So be very careful about seeing how well Konstantin comes off in this video, meaning the silicon curtain, you know. Again, he showed he's more into just how bad the war for the Russians and how bad the war is and not how bad the war is for Ukraine. He's not really a Ukraine supporter or even a sympathizer. He's a hardcore Russian and feels bad for Russia only. One thing I'd like to know, I'd clarify for me personally, whether this person really thinks so, or he just, he's paid to make this post, to run this smear campaign on me. Because if he's paid, I mean, there's no questions asked. But if he truly believes, I would like to know where his beliefs come from, you know. So basically he has both feet in Russia. Well, I have both feet in Uzbekistan now, and third foot in the United States, because that's where my kids are. And he doesn't care much about Ukraine. Well, I've just told you how connected I'm with Ukraine. How can I not care about that? Basically, my channel is about Russia. This person is right in terms of I don't speak much of what's happening inside Ukraine, because this is called Inside Russia, not Inside Ukraine, you know. And I feel bad for what Russia is doing for the neighbor. I just don't feel bad. I feel this is a tragedy, right? You all know my stand. You all know my points. You know how I bleed. You know how I bleed. Okay, but I try to find roots of why my country has turned into what it has turned to. I try to dig deep. I try to understand why Russians all of a sudden have come to some of them have come like turned into monsters, you know. I try to understand that much. I try to understand how what Russia is doing to Ukraine affects Russian economy, because the economy is the foundation. I try to find out what is the future for Ukraine and for Russia, for the both countries. And yes, I speak about Russia because obviously I am Russian, and this is what my channel is about. I try to understand this conflict with Ukraine, this war with Ukraine, through Russia, through the Russian side. Plain and simple. Moving on. He fled and moved to Kazakhstan last fall. I never did that. I never fled and moved to Kazakhstan, my friends. Um, I've only been to Kazakhstan twice in the last 15 years. All in all, about 20 minutes. I did visa runs twice, and that's it. Each time was 10 minutes. I was in Kazakhstan, out of Uzbekistan, and right back into Uzbekistan. That's it. So that's a lie, lie, lie. I never moved to Kazakhstan. I'm sorry. Moving on. The reason he left Russia is his YouTube business was about to fold. Nothing more, nothing less. Well, first of all, I do not consider YouTube business. And the reason I moved to Uzbekistan has absolutely zero connection, 0% connection with my YouTube channel. Uh, yeah. There are so many YouTubers who still to this day remain in Russia, in different Russian cities. You know them; they're English speaking YouTubers. You know, they're some of them have large followings. Somehow nothing happened to their YouTube channels. They still doing YouTube from inside Russia. And if YouTube was my number one priority, I wouldn't have left Russia. Plain and simple. Like, look at the other people who have stayed. I don't want to name them, but you know who they are. Um, Moving on. So this another block of comments I'd like to address, and they're basically on what Inside Russia is about, the channel is about. There are quite a few comments, and I've decided to put them into one block. And the first one is, he's almost as good as telling people what they want to hear as Putin was 20 years ago. Well, Putin has never been good at telling people what they wanted to hear. He hasn't been eloquent. But let's leave that, out of the picture. He's almost as good as telling people what they want to hear. This is how my streams are born. Basically, what I do, I constantly search to go through the news. I have tons of different channels of news, not channels, YouTube channels, but the media outlets, different tickers with news, different sites, Russian, Ukrainian, American, international ones, European. And once in a while, I see news that kind of jumps right into my head, and in my heart, I understand that there's a spark and something is born. And it just like falls into pieces like a puzzle, real quick. And I know what I'm going to be doing stream about the next stream. So not once, not one single time, I have created a stream based on what people want to hear from me. I don't even know what people want to hear. I always make live streams and make videos based on what I want to share, because I think that what I want to share is important and plain and simple. That's what I do. I make a thumbnail. I make name of a stream, the way I know it, the way I understand it, and I present it out there to the world, and then some people come and watch, and that's how it works. Moving on. Oi, we are getting out of time. Gosh. Так, there's quite a few questions left. That's gonna be a long stream. Perhaps shouldn't be comments today. We just simply will not be able to. I'll try to speed it up. That's a pretty interesting comment. I see the other commentators' generic praises, but as a personal opinion, Kay failed in his task in learning all the democracy in imperfect West, and in my opinion, it was all about the money. The 90s, they had a chance. He did not get what went wrong, got out to make more money. They he got back to even more money as an expat working in his home country. Look at how he sees the American dream. Money, money, money. I thought when he got out of the country he will speak the truth that he couldn't. He turned into gastronomical reviews, getting out of the country. So this is what it's all about. That's about gastronomical reviews. So I made about over 200 streams in the last 8 months. 250 streams and some videos. And there were like 3 video of me eating pilaf. And so this channel is a gastronomical review now. I'll continue. Back to this interview. There was no intellectual exchange to have with Konstantin. That's in my interview. He was always proud and loyal to his president. Lies, lies, lies. I did not go back to Russia for money. It was for money I would have stayed in the United States because I was offered to make a partner, a junior partner in business. I would have made more money. But I went for, I missed the country and I missed my mom and dad, my parents, my family, big family. I was making good money and more money than I was making in Maine, working in the hospitality business, but that's a coincidence. Look what American Dream is for him. More money, money, money. Well, to me, American Dream is very easy and very simple. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's what my American Dream is. Money is there, definitely, but that's not number one. And I'm actually living the American Dream. I have been trying to live it all my life. I thought that when he got out of the country, he will speak the truth. Again, the grammatical mistakes, I'm sorry. That's not me. Write in the comments. But when he got out of the country, he could not. He couldn't. You be the judge. I've been telling the truth ever since, well, the war started, okay? It's just before coming to Uzbekistan, I was speaking in read between the line language, and now I've been speaking plain and simple straight English. So that's a lie. He turned into gastronomical reviews. I mean, I don't even know what to say. I was asked a couple times to show how Uzbeks live, how they eat, and I think I did 2 streams and 1 video, and that's it. So then that makes my channel gastronomical review now. That's interesting. There was no intellectual exchange with Konstantin. Well, I think there was quite a bit of an intellectual exchange. It was a good interview. It has been watched by over 115,000 people so far in a little over than a day. It means 115,000 people liked what they heard. So it speaks volumes of high intellectual level of exchange there. And the last one, he was always proud and loyal to his president. My, oh my. Folks, what is this? What is this? I was always been loyal and proud of Putin. What the fudge? Show me one single freaking time where I was proud of Putin. Show me one single time when I was loyal to Putin. What kind of crap is this? Aye. Moving on. He is not the future of Russia. My 2 cents, he did not plan to leave. He had a future, a plan, money, all in a country under Putin for 20 years, and he is a member of a breakfast club. Yes. With Russians not doing anything, there are us in a support group. Did he say something about the atrocities in Ukraine? Never. For him, it is just an unfortunate event that made him lose everything. Money. He sees himself as angry smart. Folks, I'm sorry it's taking so long, but it's amusing, you know. All right. There are many questions and many comments to make. Uh, he's a member of a breakfast club. Well, no, I'm not just a member of the breakfast club. I'm the founder. I'm the creator of the breakfast club. I am the one who made everything happen. With Russians not doing anything. Who told you that? Have you been to a breakfast club even once? Have you talked to us? Have you had discussions in mornings? How do you know that we're not doing anything? Do you know what we're not speaking of anything? We're not planning of anything. How do you know? You making assumptions and you sell them as truth. Okay, they are in the support group. We started out as a support group at first, but then no longer. Did he say something about atrocities in Ukraine? what the? What do I do every day? Uh, I made a live stream about Bucha. I made a live stream about attacking Ukraine. I made a live stream about bombing the um, bombing the shopping center. I remember Nikolai, one of the cities. Remember the Russians bombed, attacked the shopping center. Um, I made plenty of streams. What the heck is that? Never, he says. Well, uh, that's lie. For him, it's just an unfortunate event. To me, buddy, that's a tragedy of a cosmic scale. What Russia has done to Ukraine, it's tragedy for Ukraine, and it's also tragedy for Russia. I've been saying that for the past 15 months. That made him lose everything. Money, he sees himself as an angry smart. I have lost. Money is not. Money is not the most valuable thing I lost. I lost the country. I lost the future. I lost the culture for my kids. I lost um, opportunities in Russia. I lost friends, friendships. I lost some relatives. I cut ties with my country. Do you even understand what it means? This is what I've lost. Not money is money can be made again. It's the easiest thing out of losing it all. Um, and the last one, he is not future of Russia. Guilty is charged. I'm not future of Russia. I have no intentions on going back there. It's my choice, and I don't understand how people can bash me for that. Okay. He did not plan to leave. He had a future, plan money, and all in that in the country under Putin for 20 years. That is straight to the point. Yes, I feel very sorry about doing that in the country for 20 years under Putin and not doing anything. And that I am very sorry about. But future and plans I did have before the war. On day of war, we decided that we would not remain in Russia for a long time. So don't ever say you don't know what happened in my life, and don't ever say that I left Russia unexpectedly. Sort of unexpectedly, but the plans were made on February 24th, 2022. There's a large portion on money. Folks, I am sorry, but it looks like we won't be able to discuss much because I still have a few comments to go over. On money. Lots of people, not lots, but a few people, they bash me for making money on YouTube. Um, they have no clue how much I make. They have no clue how I made, how much time I have put in, what kind of efforts I trade for that money. They don't know me personally, but they make this claim that the only reason I do YouTube is for money. I figured they do it because they judge me if they were in my shoes. They must know nothing besides money. So they assume I am just like them. I don't have another explanation. I'm sorry. So moving to the comments. It is not about trust. Constantine is a brilliant entertainer. Well, thank you. He tells people in the West what they want to hear, and they donate money for it. Every entertainer deserves to get paid, but don't think Constantine is out to change the world. He lost the job and now he's making money to keep up with his comfortable lifestyle with YouTube channel. That's all. Um, am I a brilliant entertainer? Well, never been a brilliant. I have never been an entertainer in my life. Okay, I never went and spoke publicly to people before the war in Ukraine. Um, Again, I always say what I feel is important. I just made a community post a couple hours ago about a fella, a Russian parliament, senator, a member of Russian parliament, lower chamber. He publicly claims that he wants to destroy Ukrainian language and Ukraine as a state. Okay? When I make community posts like that, when I make texts, they show what is really truly happening in Russia that concerns me because I don't understand how is this possible, right? Um, how does this coincide with this comment? He tells people in the West what they want to hear. Would you like to hear that someone in the Russian parliament is threatening to um, destroy Ukraine and Ukrainian language eradicated? Would you like me to tell you that? I tell that because I find it incredibly disturbing and incredibly important. I feel like when I learn it, I am in shock, and I feel that everyone needs to learn about that. I need to shout it out to the entire world. Hey, look what's happening inside Russia. Okay, what this guy is saying is completely opposite from the truth. I always come up with things that I find incredibly important, and I feel that you need to know about them. You need to learn about them. I do get paid for it, but again, that's not why I do YouTube. It's not priority number one. If it was, I would have done things differently. You know, I limit myself with super chats by turning the live stream comments off for the first 30 minutes. Okay. If I was all about money, I would have left the comments on. Okay. That's just one small example. That's all. So I don't think Constantine is out to change the world. That I am out to do. I am on the mission to change things, to fix what my government has broken. That's why I started Tashkent Breakfast Club. That's why I get people together. That's why I help people. That's why I bridge Ukrainians and Russians. That's why I speak out to political activists all over the world. I give interviews and I participate in a couple large international peace organizations. And that's my way of changing the world. And I'm just getting started, you know. He lost his job and now he's making money to keep up his comfortable lifestyle. You know what? Comfortable lifestyle. Oh my God. I wish that no one in the world would go through what shit that I have gone through. And all the Russians that are here have gone through. You call this comfortable lifestyle when your family is not with you? You call this freaking comfortable lifestyle when you are depressed, when you question everything and everyone and everybody, when you question values, when you question your history in the country that you were born and raised? Did you call it comfortable lifestyle? You calling cutting off ties with your country and leaving for who knows where a comfortable lifestyle? You can't be absolutely crazy to do that. My comfortable lifestyle is a thing of a past in Russia. That's where I had a very comfortable lifestyle. No more. Okay? If I wanted comfortable lifestyle, I would have stayed in Russia and I wouldn't have set a foot into Uzbekistan. Okay? I would have stayed in my wonderful apartment, home in the south, I would have spent wonderful time there. That was comfortable lifestyle. Moving on. It turns out that I'm a pro-Russian. Some people think that I'm a pro-Russian. Couple comments about that. Yep, and a complete Russian shill. He is a complete me. I'm a complete Russian shill. Notice how he doesn't dance around the issues. He doesn't dances. That's a freaking mistake. I mean, people have enough honor to not make mistakes in your own language. He doesn't dances around the issues. Proper English would be notice how he doesn't dance around the issues. Anyway, notice how he doesn't dances around the issues. He is pro-Russian. What issues I exactly don't dance around, and what is dancing around them? I don't know what to say. I'm speechless, kind of. He's pro-Russian. Yeah, you really can tell from my streams, from my videos, from my posts, from my monologues that I'm really pro-Russian. I have left Russia. I'm not going to set my foot into Russia. I'm pro-Russian. That's nice, right? Just common sense of some people that stops working. Moving on. Yes, he is truly adept of soft propaganda. I already commented that. This is going to sound harsh. All right, throw it at me. I finally blocked Inside Russia from my recommendations about 4 months ago. Girkin light for a Western audience. Girkin light. Konstantin is just exploring his own personal catharsis without any real stakes. Notice how he smoothly sidestepped the big ideas question of returning to Russia as a new civil society. I was asked a question in the interview if I was going to return and then what I would have done, and I said that I'm not going to return. I've made my choice. I don't want to return to Russia, and I'm not the future of Russia, okay? I'm a future of a different country. I'm going to work twice as hard. I'm going to create so many taxes, so much money, and pay taxes. I'm going to add so much value to the country that's going to be my next home, but that's not going to be Russia, okay? And you bashing me for that? Girkin-like for Western audience. Folks, I do my best. I speak out on issues that I find important. I try to explain how things work. I try to explain what they really are. And I try to x-ray propaganda talk. Whether you like it or not, you make a decision. If you like, you watch me. If you don't, just like this guy, don't. So, but I do my best. I can't do anything else because I don't know how to. You realize this guy is a pro-Russian and, very likely, FSB, do you not? This is insane. So they calling me, I'm an FSB now. I don't know what to say. Well, I am very afraid that FSB is going to come one day and knock on my door, or open the window for me, so to speak, because they have said that they're going to organize death squads for Russians who are opposing what Russian government says from abroad. Okay, Dmitry Medvedev said that he's going to exterminate all Russians who do that. And then the Russian government said that. So, uh, okay. I don't know what to tell you. Well, it's not funny, actually. You know what? That's smearing. That's smearing. And that's done on purpose. Moving on. His long messages has almost always pro-Russian soft propaganda portions. Again, please have enough respect to not make grammar mistakes in your own language. Or perhaps it's not your own language. Perhaps you're Russian and English is second language. That would explain it, you know. His long messages has almost always pro-Russian soft propaganda portions. Show me one. Show me one portion. I would love to see that. Perhaps I don't understand that subconsciously where somewhere I do Russia propaganda, but show me. These messages usually includes, I don't think it's Englishman, English woman writing. That's definitely a Russian troll. Includes playing down certain aspects, enhancing pro-Russian misbeliefs, diverting from important subjects, and rumbling for hours on matters that has no big interest or are otherwise obvious. Makes sense. You know, I just realized that these people make mistakes that English speakers will not make in the kindergarten. So that's most likely smearing. Yeah, and by the way, I was doing copy paste. I did not change anything myself. I would copy and paste it into my document in front of me right now. I have never done any soft propaganda portions, and I always speak on the pressing issues that actually draw huge interest. Belgorod, uh, not obvious, not small interest. Propaganda, Putin, atrocities, Anyway, moving on. Still waiting for him to donate to any Ukrainian charity. His initial excuse was Russia blocked donations to Ukraine. He has been out of Russia for over a year and hasn't mentioned donations again. Konstantin makes about 10,000 per month across YouTube. I don't make 10,000 per month. Well, that's a lie. Still waiting for him to donate to any Ukrainian charity. Still waiting for him to donate. Does that commenter know how much I have spent money? Not on charities. I have not donated to any Ukrainian charity directly, but I have donated to people, to places, and to causes. And that's a lot in the last, can't say 15, but this is about 6 months. I will not reveal how I help, but there are some people in the United States and here in Uzbekistan, and they know from very first-hand experience. So I will not reveal how I help here in public. Don't even ask. Don't wait for me to do that. I have decided, I released a video called Manifesto, and where I've decided that I'm going to make money on YouTube as much as I can. I'm going to keep portion of it for myself, and I'm going to take a part of it and use for good cause. Okay? And I have been true to myself. I have been doing that. That's it. I mean, how can they say still waiting for him to donate? Do they? Well, come to Tashkent and I'll tell you personally. How about that? Konstantin tends to be rather generic, but no more than many other commentators. Okay. For me, it seems his excuses for ignorance concerning all the past Russian conflict is that he was in the USA and tends to view the 90s and the 2000s as golden years without reflection of how things were moving behind the scenes. There nothing unusual with being obvious during parts of your life. Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't seem like it's an English speaker writing. But for me, not for me, to me. But for me, the interesting part of a generic citizen is looking critically at the past and how you might have a bystander to the events to increase others' understanding of these times. Constantine never really goes deeper than post-Crimean affair. A fake. Well, this is lie on top of a lie on top of a lie. First of all, I have a huge interest in going in learning and finding out the truth why Russia has turned into what it has turned and why Russians have become to what they have become. What I truly feel, that this is just the tip of the iceberg. The roots, they go back deep into the fall of the USSR. That's where we need to be looking at. And I have tons of materials on that. I've done tons of research. And there are videos coming in the future. Not live streams, because that's a different format. That's a video. And this is where I'm digging. Early 90s, 1991, 1992, okay, and so forth. So what this person says doesn't make any sense. Assumes something and makes a comment. Well, whatever. Moving on. That's actually a good comment. He's also not adverse to admit if he makes an error or changes his view and explains why. I consider it as a huge compliment. That's from one of the people who was smearing. I consider it a compliment. Thank you so much. That's true. Sometimes I find myself absolutely wrong on something, and of course, the invasion of Ukraine, I had thought and I had spoke of it. I had thought that it would never happen. It was all, exaggerations and so forth. And I'm very afraid. I'm very ashamed of that now. And basically I was wrong, and I keep on telling people that I was so wrong back then. And I don't delete my videos and live streams just to show how foolish I was. Okay. So every time I change my view, I make it public and I explain why. I make a mistake, I explain why. I'm a human being. I'm not perfect, far from it. Moving on, there's a good piece on he even posted Tucker Carlson link. That says it all. What does it say? What all does it say? What all does it say, my friend? It says it all. What? Yes, I did post it. Tucker Carlson link once. I made a community post. Tucker Carlson had a good piece on something, and I watched it and I said, whoa, I actually agree with that. And I find it interesting. And I made a community post, and it's still out there. Okay. What does it say? I do not fancy Carlson Tucker, never did. But some things that he said, that was okay. So, but you see, that says it all, my friends. That says it all. And that person continues. Yes, Konstantin said he watches Fox News for information. Guilty as charged. I said that. And you know what? I watch Fox News for information from time to time. I also watch CNN. I also watch Huffington Post. I also watch Sky News. I also watch Первый канал, the propaganda citadel of Russia. I also watch CBC. I also watch, what else? Sky News Australia. I also watch Euronews. I also watch you can't watch Medusa. I also watch The Rain. I watch all kinds of stuff. I watch the news. I try to make myself as informed as possible. And I get news from different channels and I see how they differ. And the opinions of people who present them, they also differ. But It all comes down to my head, and this is where I make my own decisions. And yes, guilty is charged. I watched Fox News from time to time. Sorry, sorry to disappoint you. And yes, I did post Tucker Carlson link in the community post once. That says it all. Moving on. The same person says, yes, I forgot about the mass banning. That says it all, doesn't it? Another says it all. Says it all person, yeah. What does it say all? What all does it say? I explained why we used to ban people who are Russian trolls, people who would start saying obnoxious things, people who would start insulting others, plain and simple. Konstantin has gotten a lot more gray hair in just 1 year. The prospect of losing his YouTube business, I guess. I did get quite a bit of more gray hair, but that's just not a prospect of losing YouTube business. It's not business, it's YouTube channel. It's just age. I age. And by age 55, my father was white. He was so gray, he was like white. And that's where I'm heading to. Well, you can be happy for me because I'm not losing any hair. It's just turning gray, which is kind of not a big deal. Would have been much worse if it stayed dark, but I would be losing it and I'd be getting bald. Okay, so be happy for me, please. He is embarrassed at how the civilized, educated world now view his beloved Russia and Rusians, nothing more. So I'm embarrassed on how civilized, very embarrassed. I'm ashamed of it, but not how the world views, but what my country has done to deserve how the world views. Yes, very ashamed. Yes, very embarrassed. And it hurts. Imagine that you get embarrassed of what your country has done. It hurts. It hurts a lot, and you start asking yourself all kinds of questions. Hey, what could have I done to prevent that? What I didn't do enough to change that, and things like that. And I have that, So here goes the comment. I'm quite on the fence about this guy. He was literally one of those useful idiots that went out blogging, claiming nothing happened on the border during the initial full invasion. But eventually he realized the truth and fled the country before it was too late. Why the heck you make so many grammatical mistakes? You must be, if you're a native speaker, you must know these things, okay? Which WICH is good for him. But what I don't like is how now he's somehow a front figure, and he's contributed nothing more than what is to be expected from a decent human being. First of all, hands down guilty. Guilty is charged. I was one of those useful idiots who went out blogging, claiming nothing would happen, screaming, shouting out to the entire world. And yes, definitely, I was one of those idiots. Guilty is charged. Eventually realized the truth and fled the country, not fled. So he should have written down fled the country before it's too late, which is good for him. I agree, it's good for me, but that's more than to expected. So he's upset that I've become somewhat of a front figure, but hasn't contributed nothing. Well, I've contributed so many efforts. I've contributed so much time. I've contributed my life to the cause. I've contributed all these efforts to get people together offline to discuss things, to help people. to bridge Ukrainians and Russians. I think I've done quite a bit. I am seeked by different activists. They want to interview me and they want to involve me into their organizations. So they do fact checking on me. Don't get any idea that they just don't do it for nothing. Um, so I'm sorry. I mean, I agree that a decent human being would do that. Well, I'm trying to be a good human being. That's all, and I'm trying to be active about it. And I have been I have been active about that. Так, getting done soon. I was on the fence for the first while, but now I think that if Russia were to resolve the conflict and settle down, Constantine would simply settle into his old routine and apolitical approach. My old routine and apolitical approach, which is which is what exactly? I mean, if you call this a political approach, what is political approach then? If Russia were to resolve the conflict and settle down now, this don't get any ideas. I'll explain to you what I would do. Well, first of all, I'd be very happy if the conflict would be resolved because the bloodshed would stop. I would not go back to Russia because I simply do not understand how people can change so fast into monsters, and I don't believe they can change back into normal human beings fast. And even if they do, what other guarantees that they will not change back into the monsters in the future same fast? I don't understand how the majority of Russians can support this bloodshed, can support this atrocity that they're doing to Ukraine. And I simply don't want to go and live there. My comfortable life is over there. That's it. There's no way back. The bridges have been burned, plain and simple. The very same person continues. He plays the religious card heavily, but never looks at the Orthodox split and how the state profits from what could what could be called a pseudo crusade. Holy moly! What are you smoking? I play religious card heavily. I don't play any card. I pray at the end of the stream, plain and simple. If you call this playing a card, I don't. But I never look at the Orthodox split and how the state profits from what could be called pseudo crusade. I did a stream about that. What else do you want me to do? I don't care about the Orthodox Church, honestly, because I have no respect for the Russian Orthodox Church now, after what it has been doing. Uh, you telling me that I never look at the Orthodox split? What are you smoking? It reminds me heavily of how Western conservative evangelicals rarely question direction. Well, first of all, I don't really know who are Western conservative evangelicals. I'm sorry, who are evangelicals? When I used to watch them, it did seem a large portion of the base was there for that angle. For which angle? Religious? I don't know. Why would they just come for religious angle? I gave him the benefit of the doubt, and that's very hard to have most every belief betrayed, and takes time to be aware. I don't understand. In my humble opinion, he shows limited empathy for the overall situation. Uh, okay, I show as much empathy as I can. I all empathy I have. I'm sorry. I don't know what you call not limited empathy, real empathy. Perhaps I failed your standards, which please forgive me for that, but I'm doing my best. His discussions are always they and never we. Ha! Um, I made a stream, if you remember, folks. Um, I named it, is it Putin's war or is it Russians' war? And this is a very important stream for me because I consider that this war is not Putin's war. This war is Russians' war, and this is my war. I am responsible, along with 140 million Russian people. It's us who allowed that to happen. It's us who are responsible. It's us. It's not, who they. The government, yes, the government made a decision, but you know what? For the 20 years, we were allowing the government to gain enough power to do that. So it's us. And this person is telling me that my discussions are always they and never we. That is just a lie. I'm not saying he's to blame, but he has grown up and lived 50 years in the system. And you know what? And that's exactly what I speak about quite often. But anyway, I think I'm going to be wrapping up soon. Some of the comments involve my wife too. It's incredible. He did have one fundraiser shortly after Razia invented. For Razia orphanage his wife manages. This actually hurts. It doesn't hurt when people say things about me, but it hurts when people say about my wife. She's really an angel. The guy continues. She needed a new Lexus hybrid SUV. He only left to avoid sanctions and register his YouTube in a non-sanctioned nation. Same with banking. Okay, first things first. I have never done one fundraiser on this stream, on this channel, ever. Not one. What this person falsely accuses me of was a live stream, and it was on the 22nd of February. I remember it quite well because the next day was my mom's birthday, and I was invited by people, one of the people, well, anyway, so I remember that day. One of the people who's hating me here invited me for an event back in Rostov. Yeah. So I remember well. And I said I couldn't go because tomorrow is my mom's birthday. So it was 22nd of February. And you can go, and it's still there on YouTube. You can go and look it up. I did a live stream to show a charity foundation, how it looks from the inside, what happens inside. And then people ask me what this charity foundation does, and I told them, right now there's a large group of toddlers, orphans came from Donetsk, and they're placed in orphanage. So this foundation was getting stuff for the babies, basically, and baby formula, things like that. And then I still had, it will be because it was before the invasion, 2 days. I still had my PayPal working, so people started sending me money to PayPal. It was around $500, something like that. Don't quote me on that, but that was an amount that I received. And I doubled that with my own money. I placed money on top. And then the next thing we did, I made a video how we went to a store, a large supermarket, and we were buying things for the babies. We bought tons of napkins, diapers, things like that, okay? And this scumbag, I'm sorry, I don't know how to say that, accuses my wife of needing a new Lexus hybrid SUV. And so I was scamming people out of their money doing a fundraiser. I showed everything. I showed the foundation. I showed the uh, place where the babies were in the video. I showed how we were buying things. I showed how much we spent. I showed the check, the amounts, everything. And this person, this is incredible. My wife has never managed the foundation. She was one of the founding members. She was a big businesswoman in Russia, in Rostov. For 20 years, she had her own business with over 70 employees. And she never had a problem with money. She drove Lexus for the past, I don't know, 15 years, perhaps even more than that. Not brand new, but just, good Lexus. We didn't need a new one back in 2022. We were absolutely happy with the cars we had. And you are accusing us of this. Oh, okay. Just so to let you know, it's easy to register an account, open a bank account, register, open a company from anywhere in the world remotely without being present in the country. You can do that in the USA, you can do it in Georgia, you can do it in Uzbekistan, you can do it in Kazakhstan. You don't have to leave your country and move out of the country and burn bridges just to do that. That's child's play. It's easy. It costs you, a few $100 and that's it. So banking, non-sanctioned nation. By the way, YouTubers are still getting paid in Russia for doing YouTube. So just to let you know. Moving on. Yes, his cultists are easily triggered. Cultists, easily triggered. Coincidentally, many are also Russian nationalists. Oh, you friends are Russian nationalists. I didn't know that. I didn't know this stream is full of Russian nationalists. I thought you were Americans, Englishmen, uh, English women, Australians, Canadians, Europeans, but turns out you're Russian nationalists. And he's a Russian chauvinist. Yeah, it gets better and better. He's a Russian imperialist. That's the same person writing who was accusing me of doing a fundraiser to buy my wife a new Lexus. This is incredible. He deletes videos containing views and or statements. The only video I deleted was, I told you, the stream of Crimea Kerch Bridge, and that's the only one. I also deleted the very first video made on the 24th of February of 2022, but I returned it, not because there were comments or views, because they could put me to jail in Russia for that. Plain and simple. Now it's out there in public again. Watch it. 24th of February, minutes after I learned what Russia has done to Ukraine. I dare you to go and watch it. Check it out. 24th of February. You will find it. Moving on. I'm not blaming or attacking Konstantin. They threatened him and his family with death. The poor bastard is trapped by incredible evil. Thank you for calling me poor bastard. You could have just called me bastard, I understand. Well, I've never been personally threatened once in my life by Russian government. If they personally threaten me, they usually don't threaten. They arrest, okay? And if they threatened me, that probably would have been something like, hey, we have your kid. You must do this and this. And most likely I would be doing completely different YouTube channel, because if they threatened my child or one of my children, then I would have done everything they would say. Okay, so we have not been threatened. I'm doing what I like to be doing. I'm doing what I feel is right to be doing. So I'm okay. But I am facing an incredible evil. That you're right. Now is a good one. In the USA, we know the Vietnam War was wrong, but we still honor Vietnam vets and not those men who fled to Canada. This man, Constantine, fled his country, mind you, not at the beginning of the war, but only when partial mobilization started. He will be in an analogous position to U.S. draft evaders when this war ends. Uh, well, that was a very unusual message, and I didn't even know how to. I still don't know how to address it. So, personally, this person blamed me for not getting drafted and not taking arms into my hands, not going to Ukraine and not killing Ukrainians. Um, I don't understand. Look, the decision to leave the country was made not when I left the country. 21st of September was kicking the butt. It kind of gave me velocity, all right? But the decision was made 24th of February on the day that Russia attacked Ukraine. Me and my wife, we looked at each other, we had a brief conversation, and we decided that we were not to be aligned to be sided with what Russia's gonna be doing. Plain and simple. It's not it's not easy to leave the country at once because we have kids, we're not young, we have so many roots in Russia, and it takes a long time to unroot and prepare everything for the move. So, and if in Russia they will curse me and they will bash me and they will not remember me well for leaving and not being able to get me mobilized, well, you know what? I will live with that. That's perfectly fine with me. And couple more comments, and that's it. I don't believe this guy. I've heard much from more credible people the opposite. But I'll hear this podcast out anyways. Well, first of all, thank you so much for hearing my podcasts anyways. Thank you. I appreciate it. That's double valuable to me. You don't like, you don't believe, but you watch them. Okay. I don't, and you are absolutely right. There are much more credible people out there, and go and watch them. Um, there are much more empathetic people out there, much more loving people. I am Constantine. I do my best. I do the way I know, and that's the only way. I wish I could do more. I wish I could be more credible. I wish I could be more reliable, but I just don't know how to. So please forgive me for that. And the last one I find amusing. I realized I made a mistake. Constantine, someone gave you a bad translation of Hamlet. It's something rotten in the state of Denmark, not the Netherlands or Holland or the land of the Dutch. Guilty as charged. I made this mistake a few times already, and the mistake comes from Russian language, because in Russian the phrase would sound something like this. Um, how? I'm trying to remember. Gosh, I'm getting old. Что-то неправильно в датском королевстве. Что-то гниет в датском. Anyway, it's like Датское королевство. Датское. It's Denmark in Russian. But in English, Dutch. That's easy. So that's why I'm mistaken. But it's not a hateful comment. That's actually funny. And thank you so much. Folks, this is all I wanted to share with you today. Definitely not going to go into the live stream chat because it's been like hour and a half already. More than that, I want to tell you one thing. The hate comments don't really bother me much because most of them are baseless and groundless. I know that. I am pretty honest with myself, and I absolutely love the fact that they are a tiny minority, a speck in the great glooming comments that I have been receiving, for the past 15 months. So far, I have received over 250,000 comments. Statistics is available on YouTube, and less than 2,000 of them are full of hate. Thank you so very much for coming and being with me. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for supporting me through comments, through live stream chat, through supporting me. Just you are absolutely fantastic. I love you so much. Thank you. You're the best community on internet I've ever seen. Also, please note that there are some people who follow me every single time I show up somewhere outside inside Russia. And they comment. And they know quite a bit of me because they watch everything. They have their own opinions on me. And they comment publicly on me, okay? And I thought it was random comments, but now I tend to believe it's a smear campaign because they like glue to me. They're stuck to me. If they didn't like me, why would they watch and comment? Why would they watch everything? Why would they comment? Why would they be on the lookout for different sites where I show up with interviews? Right? Very interesting. That's a food for thought. And I just realized while reading this to you, but most of these comments, it seems like there are so many grammatical mistakes and they're not made by English speakers. I'm not an English speaker, native speaker, but I see the mistakes. And that makes me believe that these people who are doing the smear campaign, they're not English speaking. Let's put two and two together. Perhaps they're from Russia? No? That's interesting. So anyway, I hope that you liked what you have heard today. I hope you know more about me and I am more colorful, so to speak. You know more sides of me and more angles of me. Thank you very much for watching, listening, and being with me. If you're in the United States, happy Memorial Day. This is Memorial Day weekend. Fantastic time. I still recall from Old Orchard Beach. What a good time I always had. Thank you. And I will have a strong message that concerns Russia, what's going on in Russia. The one that you will like tomorrow at the usual time. And my friends, thank you so very much for being with me today. I'm gonna wrap it up right now. And before I go, I would like to ask you to do the following with me. To say out loud, as usual, Carthago delenda est.